Ladies and gentlemen, for our next speaker, we have Sarah Grau working on a project titled Florida Man Enters Table Topics. For this patriotic 4th of July edition of Table Topics, we will ponder one of the most American things floating around the international zeitgeist, the Florida Man.
Sorry, zeitgeist. It was a weird word to use.
Thank you for correcting me on that. So, floating around the international zeitgeist, the Florida Man. Florida Man enters table topics.
Thank you very much, Benita. So today I would like for our table topics to center around Florida Man, because what is more American, especially to the international community, than the Florida Man? For those of you who are not familiar, the laws in Florida for journalism do not protect people very well. So therefore, you don't have a presumed ability to keep your arrest to yourself or why it happened. This gives the journalists a lot of room to work with. I'm going to give you a Florida Man headline, the headline alone, and I'd like to hear your take on how this happened. So we will go ahead and start off with Benita. Florida man dressed like Fred Flintstone pulled over in his footmobile. How did this happen?
Ladies and gentlemen, over the 4th of July weekend, we had a time traveler appear in Florida, right in front of a house with 2 international flags indicating that he was not an American, and he was demonstrating his ability to be nationally diverse on this stage. The question was he truly peddling this vehicle, or was it power operated and therefore needed a license to be on the street? As we all know, in Florida, it is a requirement to have a proper motor vehicle driver's license given to you by the nation of America in order to drive on American streets. Now, if you choose to use your own 2 feet, you are welcome to pedal any vehicle you'd like around the nation without this driver's license. Here we see a federale issuing his citation. Now, why we would have a federale in the middle of Florida issuing a citation for an American is yet to be seen. But the cataclysmic event that this time and moment happened shows the response of the very sad nature and the very emotional distress placed on who we will call Fred Flintstone in this vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if he was from the past or from the future. It appears that he is driving an electric car using his feet. Thank you.
Thank you, Benita. That was amazing. That was a stunning jump you made. Rather than explain why a modern man would do this, you decided to ponder, could it have been the past? I would never have done that. That was a great take on it. And I loved that you derived from his green uniform that instead of being a cop, he must have been a federale. Beautiful comedic delivery. And I definitely love that you let off to show everyone how it's done. Thank you. Amanda. Florida man breaks into house, shaves cat's head, and leaves without stealing anything. How did this happen? What happened? Why?
Table Topics Master. Florida on February 16, 2022. Might have been the day before. This is weird. Why would any man, can't do Benita style, why would any man want to break into a house and shave a cat's head? That can't be the purpose of breaking into a house, is to shave a cat's head. Is it trying to do an experiment to measure the size of cats' heads to see their brains in a stunning attempt for some weird random experiment? Were they drunk? Were they being chased by alligators. I don't know how that would relate, but this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He shaves the cat's head and leaves without stealing anything. I mean, he reminds the kitty actually kind of reminds me of Gizmo. I don't remember what that movie was. You know, the don't feed the thingies or they turn into aliens. And the kitty kind of reminds me of a sad Gizmo with the shaved head. Was he trying to see if he could cross Gizmo with Albert Einstein? Was that the extent? I got nothing. I like Florida for the weather. I'm not sure I could live there because of the people. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Amanda. That was wonderful. You didn't hide at any point how absurd this was. You just let it through. You didn't try to string together a bizarre storyline that explained the bald cat who looks a bit like a shaved mogwai, as you pointed out, or why he would make a cat look like Albert Einstein. You just decided to let us know exactly how strange it was, and we agree. We also are wondering. Continuing on, Ernesto. Florida man in tutu breaks into farmer's market to consume fruit and soda. Can you tell me what you think was going on here? Oh, you're muted, hun.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. A Florida man wearing a tutu breaks into a farmer's market to eat fruit and drink soda. This is the unfortunate reality of why you should stay away from drugs. I think we are all well aware that Florida is sort of a cesspool when it comes to mind-altering chemicals. So was this guy on Flocka? Was he a tweaker? Was he a meth head? We'll never know. And you know what? It doesn't really matter because drugs make people do crazy things. I know I definitely have a lot of things that I regret. And I was just taking magic candies. It was no big deal. And I had transactions that I had to dispute with my bank the following morning when I realized, yeah, that probably wasn't the best idea. That was more of a fantasy that was 3 notches hotter in my head, but not really the way that it is in reality. So let's make that go away. This is what happens when we allow ourselves to do things that we have no business doing. Just get the heck away from it. If you want to go out and get stoned and go on a bender, that's fine. But don't disturb the peace. Don't break up somebody's livelihood because that's just annoying. As you know, it's great for laughs and grins as the person who's reading the headline, but the person who's experiencing all of this, we're just sort of stunned like, are they okay? Are they some pejorative word that I'm not supposed to say at this moment? We'll never know. My advice to everybody, stay off drugs. It really does make a difference because this could happen to you, Madam Toastmaster or Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you, Ernesto. I love that you decided to lay it out there. It is obvious this man was on drugs. That is the likely conclusion of this. And you just went there instead of trying to sugarcoat it or make it seem easy, and bringing in your own personal experience with doing silly things on drugs really brought it home. That was great. Thank you so much. Amanda, do we have time for one more?
I think we can actually fit a couple more in.
Wonderful. Thank you. Amy. Florida man breaks into house, cleans it, and leaves behind origami rose. Tell me how you think this happened or why.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. So Florida man was on drugs again. And he was on ecstasy and just like feeling the love. And his way of like exuding that love was to his next door neighbor, because he remembers what a mess the house was last time he was over there and having a beer. So he broke in when they were sleeping and cleaned it. Just did a like really surface level cleaning, because what he really was focusing on were the toilet paper rolls. And he remembered this class that he took in origami and thought, you know what? If everybody's sleeping, now's the perfect time. I've got all this time. I will practice this craft that I learned in origami, and I'll do different shapes and flowers and birds on all the different toilet rolls. And he even left a stack of them with the remaining toilet paper rolls sitting out so they can, you know, have this reminder of this experience. And always remember, their neighbor came in and cleaned their house in the middle of the night and left all of these treasures for us. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Amy. I love that you just decided to dwell in how wonderful this was and how much care he took to make his origami flower, to take care of his fellow man, even though he did it in an illegal and slightly creepy way. It's beautiful that you focused on the positive in this. Diane, I don't know that we can find anything positive in the next, but our next Florida man filmed stealing dozens of pigeons while wearing trash bag and bucket on head. Can you explain why the Florida man was filmed stealing dozens of pigeons while wearing a trash bag and a bucket?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics. My hypothesis as to why this Florida man tried to steal all of these pigeons and was wearing a bucket on his head is because he saw the Matrix movie one too many times and started to feel very jealous of the person collecting all of the pigeons, and decided that he wanted to be just like him. And so he broke into this pigeon coop and started collecting all of the pigeons. He wore the bucket, of course, to hide his identity. That part's obvious. But I think that he was misguided in his attempt to mimic a movie he saw. And it's clear that he does not have a plan on taking care of the pigeons because he didn't show up with any way of transporting them in a humane way. So I think that the real story is what he planned on doing with all of the pigeons, not why he was there in the first place. I'm seeing, Amanda, you just have yellow. You've had it since the beginning, so I don't know where I'm at with the time.
It's Yanthe and you're on green still, hun.
Oh, apologies. I think this is a stunning example of why you really should stay out of Florida at nighttime. Thank you, Madam Table Topics.
Thank you so much, Diane. I had completely forgotten about that scene in The Matrix. And after you said it, I went, oh, I could see wanting that entrance with the dozens of pigeons and yeah, that was wonderful. I love your take on it. I love that you focused on the treatment of the animals rather than why is this misguided soul stealing pigeons with the most bizarre disguise in the world. Amanda, do we have time for one more?
We'll have to end it there.
Okay. Thank you so much for everyone's participation, and I will turn it over to our evaluator. No, I turn it over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm just going to jump in real quick as your grammarian for the day. As far as the word of the day is concerned for the vote, I was really kind of disappointed. A lot of people missed the mark, and today's word of the day was easy. I could have made this 10 times harder, and you know that I've done this before. I thought I was being nice. This is what happens when I try to be nice to people, right? So for the word of the day, Benita, we didn't have you. I did hear it from Diane, and I didn't hear it from Amy either. So let's go ahead and take our vote then. There's just myself, there's Diane, and Amanda, did you have table topics today?
I
You
did, and
used
I
it,
said it.
and you did too. Yeah, right. Good job.
It'll be coming up in just 1 minute.
Okay.
And everybody's qualified as far as to the time.
That's always good to know.
So should I have had the word of the day, like try to have it somewhere in the background, or?
No, that's our responsibility. We can't hold everybody's hand the whole way. Okay, now I'll take over this part of our meeting for evaluation. And Amy, I'll pass it over to you so you can evaluate Benita's speech for today.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. One of my earbuds just died, so I'm doing it with one ear today. So Benita, rate variety in your speech. The thing that I thought was just like super impressive, the timing of your music, like right after the intro, the timing just like perfect. And even when you brought the music up later in your speech, it was just very seamless. So it fit in well. Both times were seamless. I thought that was perfect. The intro was funny and catchy. It was very attention grabbing, especially the part about underwear flying.